Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube. I am coming to you on this Sunday, August 14th of 2022. Holy cannoli, we're halfway through August already. But anyway, I'm here with an update video. For a whole lot of reasons, I wasn't able to film earlier this weekend, and so we are here today. I was gonna wait until tomorrow for other reasons, but it's supposed to be super duper cool and rainy here tomorrow, and so I thought I better take advantage of it not being so rainy. It's overcast, very cloudy today, but it's not raining, so we have a little bit of light to work with. So yeah, so we are here today. I have a few projects to show you and some upcoming plans. I need your help with something, and one piece of haul that arrived, I think, like the day after my last video, and that's pretty much it. So I always kick myself for saying this, but I can't imagine that this one is going to take very long, so we'll see. Before I get into everything, I would like to say welcome. Welcome to everybody. If you are a returning viewer or a new viewer, thank you for spending some time with me today, and I hope you find something you like. Stick around. So yeah, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. I have worked on 3 projects since we last spoke, 2 of them twice. So we'll start with those, I guess. So the first is something that I'm working on today. And this is my Halloween sampler by Cottage Garden Samplings. I try to work on this every Sunday for what I am calling my Spooky Sunday Sal. And I'm trying to do roughly a word a week on Sundays. They don't take very long. Most of them aren't very big words. And I'm also having to sprinkle in working on some of the extra little motifs to try to get this finished by the end of the year. So that is what I'm working on today. It would have been great to work on this yesterday for Dark 13 stitching, but it didn't happen. And so here's where I am up to currently. And last weekend I stitched Jinx, and then starting today I stitched the capital N for Newt, so that's going to be my word this time. And I'm also working on the Raven, and I'm naming the Raven Monsoon. So we have Jinx, Monsoon. And if you watch Drag Race, and more specifically this most recent season, then perhaps that has some meaning to you. So yes, I have named the Raven Monsoon. That's not how Jinx spells her name, but that's okay. It's a play on words more than anything. And since she kind of shouted out Hecate in one of the episodes, I feel like this is a very appropriate place to put to represent Jinx Monsoon. So yeah, I really love this. This is on a 32 count Belfast linen in Tombstone from Color and Cotton, and I'm stitching it using all of the called for threads. They are all Gentle Art Sampler threads. The majority of the Raven and the lowercase letters are in Raven by Gentle Arts, and the capital letters are in Blackboard. Can you tell the difference? Not really, but that's okay. So yeah, really enjoying this. Today is day 5 on this project for me since it was called for WIPGO, so I was able to mark off this block today. I don't know how many stitches I've done in those 5 days. It hasn't been very much. I've stitched Eerie, Frankenstein, Imitate, Jinx, and what I've done today this year. But my goal for my main WIPGO board is 5 days. If I stitch on it today, that counts as a day. So that's good enough for me. And I will keep working on this roughly every Sunday. I might miss a few here and there, just depending on things and stuff, but super easy to catch up on this one. Up next is the project I was working on when last we spoke. So the last time that I filmed, I was working on Personal Sunshine, and you'll be seeing a preview here of what this will look like finished. And I told you that I was going to make this my focus project. I wasn't going to work on anything else until I reached the half-page goal. I ended up doing that on Saturday, which was great. I think I stitched a whole heck of a lot last Saturday and was able to knock out that goal and get pretty far into the second half of the page, which was awesome. That was great. Then I took a few days to work on my next draw for Arbitrary August, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. And then on Wednesday, I pulled back out Personal Sunshine. So my plan was to do this block a day thing where I was working on my HAED for a block. But that's not really serving me right now. It's not really working for my stitching time. It was looking like on Tuesday I was going to have one stitching session, and so that would go to either my main project for the day or Personal Sunshine, and it's just not quite working. It's not quite gelling with how I want to do things. I don't love working on multiple projects in a day anyway, so I'm changing it up. I'm going back to kind of this rotation where I alternate. So I'm going to do Arbitrary August project for up to 3 days. If I meet whatever goal I need on that project in those 3 days, perfect. If I don't, then it will stay on the wheel to hopefully come up towards the end of the month. And then I'm going to work on full coverage. So I think I'm leaning towards 2 days on full coverage because we only have 2 weeks left of the month, which is wild, but that's where we're at. And I've got quite a few projects left to get to. So I think full coverage for 2 days. I kind of broke that rule already because I'm me. And I started working on Personal Sunshine on Wednesday and got the page finish yesterday. So exciting. So excited. I did not intend on working on this for 4 days, and I'll kind of go into that here in a minute. But let me just show you the progress and the page finished. So I finished page 7, and I think it turned out really nice. I'm pretty excited about it. I know full coverage, it just doesn't look great on this camera. It's fine. This is a 25 count Zweigart Lugana in antique white. It's just a plain Lugana. It's not easy grid that I washed or anything like that. It came to me plain. And yeah, so I got page 7 done. This here, I'm gonna put what it will look like finished in here again. That's her head. I have reached her head already, which I think is so cool. And it was a lot of fun to just stitch a big old chunk of black to finish out the page, because that goes really quick. And when I get to the end of a page, I'm like giddy excited, and I just want the page finished. So some fast one color stitching was perfect. Especially these 3, I don't know what you call that, rays. Kind of looks like a pale colorless rainbow. That's some confetti in there. The most confetti I've had in this whole project for certain. So I'm going to point this out to you because you may notice this section of purple in the background is it's got a pretty stark difference. And I'm pretty sure that's a tie lot issue, because those are supposedly the same colors. Specifically right here, that harsh line there, those are supposed to be the same color. The good news is, with the way that Jeremiah Ketner artwork is, because this is artwork by Jeremiah Ketner, I bet you wouldn't have noticed that if I didn't tell you. I think it's gonna work out just fine. I'm not too bothered by it. But this is the prime example of why I fully kit my HAEDs now, because I didn't do that at the beginning of this project. And since I started this project in the beginning of 2016, that was a long time for the threads to change. So let me give you some stats. I am now at 23,236 stitches done of 106,000, so I am at 21.92%, getting pretty close to that quarter mark, which is cool. I have done roughly 13,600 stitches, give or take a little bit, this year on this project, which is the most of any project, of any full coverage, of any project. I have put the most effort into this one. So I've got my sights set on getting this one done. By completing this page, this is the most exciting thing. I'm going to insert here a picture of my full coverage whipco board, and you will notice a giant green line down a diagonal because I have my first whipco. I am so excited. First whipco done. So for me, with my full coverage whipco board, I need 2 whipcos or 2 bingos in order to allow myself, quote unquote, to have a new full coverage start. So I'm halfway there. 1 more to get, and I will be able to have my new start on Little Wings. So excited. So let's go to what I was going to do. So my plan was to work on this on Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday was World Cross Stitch Day. August 12th was World Cross Stitch Day, and I was back and forth. I was going to have new starts. I was going to work on a whole bunch of whips. I was going to do something fun for World Cross Stitch Day. So at the end of Thursday, I had a block and a half to get to the end of the diagonal I was working on, and so I thought, when I get up on Friday, I'm going to get that done, and then I'm going to have my new starts. And I'll show you what my new starts were going to be here in just a minute. So Friday was different. Friday was really different. We had bats in the house. Not in the house, but in vents that they could have gotten into the house and into the attic. They were separated from the attic by this mesh, and the wildlife expert explained to us that given enough time, or if the colony outgrew the space, they would chew through that mesh and be into our attic, and that would be a much bigger thing. I love bats. The things that they do for the ecosystem, it's phenomenal. I love them. Plus I think they're cute. But they have a high risk for rabies, and Gronow can be toxic. It's super, super high ammonia, and it can be really bad, really bad. So they can't live here as much as I would love them to. They can't live here. The only reason that we knew about them is that our neighbor was out walking her dog and saw them leaving the vent one night at around dusk. And so we had a wildlife expert come and check things out, and he was here in the middle of the day. And he found them in several places around in these vents around our house. So we had probably 15 to 20 bats. He also found, and I'm using his words, the largest family of chimney swifts he has ever seen in one place in our chimney. So chimney swifts are kind of interesting. They are dusk hunters as well as bats, and they don't nest. They kind of like cling to the walls. And so they needed to go as well. So on Friday, Batman came to our house. That's what we've been calling him. Danny said, I gotta call the Batman. I was like, do we need to put up one of those lights? He said, no, I'll just call him. He's in the 21st century. We'll just call him. So they came on Friday to install to get the birds out of the chimney and to install a grate so that they can't live in our chimney anymore. They've got to find somewhere else to go. And then the bats, we put up, it's basically like an exit only kind of a thing, kind of a door. So if there were any bats in there in the morning, then when they left at night to go hunt, they just wouldn't be able to get back in. It's the safest, it's the healthiest way to relocate them without anybody having to really physically interact with them. I was a little sad for them to go, but they just can't live here. So anyway, Friday was different. So I finally get my stitches in. We made it back. I finally get my stitches in on Friday afternoon, and I get the diagonal finished, and I'm like, I don't know if I really feel like new starts. I don't know if I'm really in the mood for a new start. So I was like, I'm just gonna stitch a little bit more on this, and then we'll kind of wait and see what the plan is. But I'm just in the mood for finishes. I'm in the mood for whipping down. I'm in the mood for just working on my whips. And so I just kept going on this. Ended up stitching a ton on Friday, which allowed me to get the page finish on Saturday. Okay, let me show you what my new starts were going to be, because I may start them later on in the year if the mood strikes. So the first was the only guarantee that I was starting, and it was this. This is Sailor's Delight by Uncanny Carrie and Dee's 20 Stitches, and he is such a hunk. So this is a trans-masked merman, and I love him. I think he's fantastic, and I was really looking forward to stitching him. I have a great piece of fabric picked out, and I had them all kitted up and ready to go, but I just not sure if I'm in the mood for new starts right now. So I have him on deck for starting later. And then, because it was World Cross Stitch Day, I thought I should start something that's stitching related. And so I found this on Kathy Barrick's Etsy as a PDF download, and it is Busy Hands. And so I thought, a hand holding a needle, plus that cool textured border and the pretty bird. I mean, it's pretty small. So anyway, so those are a couple of things that are kind of in the back of my mind to start later on if the mood strikes. But right now, there are some projects that I really want to work on and make good progress on. So, say Levy. A lot of people talk about being a project stitcher versus a process stitcher. So those who are project stitchers, they stitch for the finishes. Those who are process stitchers stitch for the enjoyment of stitching. I'm kind of both and also neither. I guess you could say I'm more of a progress stitcher. So I don't need to necessarily work on something from start to finish, but I like seeing good progress when I spend some time on a project. I like spending a good chunk of time on things so that I can see a before and after, and okay, I did this. See, this is what I've accomplished. And I think that that's important for the fact that most of my projects are so big. I guess I'm rambly today. The other reason I wasn't in the mood for the new starts is that I have some projects that I have started this year that have hardly any progress. My Move Forward in Love Sow, my Spring Quaker, Ragnarok, 'Tis the Season, my last 4 new starts have barely a day's progress on them, and I feel like it's more important for me to go back to those before I add on to the pile. I have some projects that I started during Mania 2020 that I haven't worked on since the start date. I have some older projects than that with a similar description, so I'm okay. I'm happy with holding off on the new starts for now. And it allowed me to get the page finished on Saturday. So, very exciting. Okay, so I told you that I worked on Personal Sunshine last weekend, and then I worked on my next arbitrary August draw, spin, choice, what have you. And that, as you may recall, was November Quilts. This is from the Quilts for All Seasons book by Paula Vaughan. I broke up my book. I chopped it all up just to make it a lot easier because these are color charts and they're not great. They're just older style charts. So this makes it a lot easier to use. So working on November Quilt, and this is where the title is going to come into play, back on my BS. So let me show you the progress and then we'll discuss. This is a 32 count Belfast linen in cream from Zwaggart, and I got a great chunk of progress on my rotation on this. So this was a past Whipco haul that I never got to. I think it was called in May. A lot of the success I've had with Whipco this week has been from May calls. And my goal was 5 days or 1,500 stitches, and I met 1,500 stitches and then some in the 3 days, so that was awesome. And I focused my efforts over here. So most of this barely visible blue sky that you see up there, most of that was done. So I've worked on wagon and pumpkin. I got to stitch a pumpkin. So this is 4 colors, maybe 5 colors total. And it went really smoothly. It looks so good, and it's going to look even better once I get back stitched on. But yeah, this is really cool. I really enjoyed this. Now, I'll be honest. I was a little hesitant pulling this out because August quilt took a lot out of me. It took a lot of effort. It took a lot of work. It was really big. It was really involved. And I don't know if I was necessarily prepared for that. The full coverage bug is very up, and this doesn't exactly meet that criteria. It is pretty much full coverage. It's just a different style. So I was wary going into this. And I think day one I was like, oh, I'm hooked again. I'm way back in. I'm right back into this. I've said it so many times over the years that this should not be my thing. It's not my style. But I loved this. I really, really enjoyed this. And so back on my BS, I think I'm going to try to finish this in November. And in order to do so, I have, say it with me now, broken up the pattern into equal sized chunks to work on it each month to see that goal accomplished. Yeah. So this chart is kind of little by comparison compared to August quilt. This is pretty little. It's 105 stitches tall, I think, and 160-ish by the width. So my August goal was super easy, and my September goal is just a little bit below here. I think it's like right there. It's like that right there is my September goal. Now it helps that I had the quilt and this side basically all done. So my September goal is really quick, which is important because September is sampler September and October is dark October. So whatever effort I'm able to put into this, I hope to dig into my October goal to try to dip into that so that I don't have to spend a whole lot of time on this, because the goal is on dark October stitching projects and samplers in September. So I got as much done as I possibly could in this in this rotation here in August to try to set me up for a little bit easier sections for those respective months. And then November will be the biggest section, including all of the back stitch, but it's November quilt, and so I thought it was kind of fitting to finish this one in November. If I don't finish it until December, that's okay. It's just a goal at this point. Just a goal. This is my oldest whip. I started this in 2015, so very nearly 7 years ago. I think I started it in September or October of 2015. Yeah. So much fun though. I love these. I really shouldn't, but I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun stitching these. And that pumpkin. Oh my goodness. I love a pumpkin. I love a pumpkin. So that is November quilt. So with having finished Have Faith earlier this month, I needed a new project to go in to my Daily 30 Animal Adventure. We need 3 projects, and when you finish one, you get to replace it. My plan was to replace it with a sampler with the hopes that I might finish it next month, and we'll talk about September plans in a little bit, or not today, in another week or so. So I thought I might replace it with a sampler, because then I could replace it with something dark October to work on in October to try to double up as much as I can. But I've moved November quilt in. I'm going to add that into my Animal Adventure so that I make sure I work on it each month until it's finished. So that's what I have worked on. Like I said, I'm working on Halloween sampler today, and then I have spun my arbitrary August wheel to pull my next project. I don't know if I'll work on it today. If I don't, then the 3 days will start tomorrow. And that is Leah Gronow, 1872. Sorry for the glare. Now this is not on my, it hasn't yet been called on my Whipco board, but it's in my Animal Adventure, so I've got to work on it this month no matter what. So this is by Merry Wind Farm, and this I am hoping to finish in September. And this is one of those projects that I have broken up into equal chunks to work on each month to see that goal accomplished. So here is where I'm up to. I've shown this recently and no change has happened, but I'm just showing you a starting point. So this is on a 32 count Belfast linen in vintage meadow rue from Lakeside Linens, and it looks so good. Oh my goodness. I love this fabric. So I will be working down here. I'm going to be focusing on the house and this tree. My section for August, let me pull this back up, goes to like the baseboard line of the house, but I think I'm just gonna try to finish the house. I don't think I'll be able to do all of that in 3 days. So this is one that will either have to come out later in the month, or I'll just, whatever I don't get done, I'll finish in September, because I am going to finish this next month. If I do nothing else, I will finish this. And I will start Jane Walker, but we'll talk about that later. So that is that. Very excited to work on this. After Leah Gronow, I'm going to have a full coverage rotation. And I think it's going to be a 2-day rotation, but I need your help on which project to work on. So I'm going to insert my full coverage Whipco board here again so that you can see this. And you will see that I have 3 incomplete blocks. So I have two options here that I would like you all to vote on. Which one do you think I should work on first? So the first one is Snow Castle by Heaven and Earth Designs. Artwork by Randal Spangler. And just real quickly here, I'll show you where I'm starting from. This one was called before the other two. So if I'm playing catch up with full coverage whip go, then I should work on this one. My goal will be half of page 6 here, so about 2,000 stitches. I won't be able to do that in 2 days, but 2 full coverage rotations should see that goal accomplished. These top pages without castle are super quick, so that shouldn't be a problem at all. So I could work on this to the half page mark. Or I can work on this one, April by Anna Dittman. And I haven't worked on her since 2018. But to get to the half page mark is going to take a lot more effort than it will for Snow Castle. So let me open this up. So here's where I am with April. So yeah, I'm just barely into that top page there. So the goal will be the half page there. So about 3,500 stitches, give or take. When I hit the half page goal on this project, I will have another bingo or another whip go, which will allow me my little wings start. I have to work on both of them. It's just a matter of which one is first. So y'all vote. Which big blue project would you like me to work on? If I was one who did screen grabs, this one would be perfect. April or Snow Castle? Which one? Which one would you like to see me work on next? I will be putting this on the frame at the earliest on Wednesday, so you have until then to cast your vote, so to speak. So you can wait until either my next video to see which one wins, or I'm sure I'll be posting on Instagram. So, Snow Castle, April by Anna Dittman. You decide. I'm gonna put these down because my arm's getting tired. So that is all of the projects that I have to show you today. And then I will spin the wheel again and see what comes after full coverage. Okay, real briefly here, I have just one piece of haul and then we'll get you going on your day. I bought a project bag from Stash Unload, and it's just this kind of vintage Santa Christmas bag. It's one of the quilted style ones with the vinyl front, and my Christmas Quaker bell pull is in here. I've been thinking about this project. I really want to work on it. And so I thought it deserved a project bag. Danny asked me the other day, he said, "Are all of your projects in fancy project bags yet?" And I said, "Oh no. I'm probably about half at this point." So yeah. So that is it. That's all of the stash and the projects that I have to ramble on about. Once again, this is turning out much longer than I expected it to, but hey, that's all right. I'm going to head off here, get this edited and uploaded for your Sunday or whatever day it is enjoyment. I'm still rambling. I'm gonna head off. Happy stitching, everybody. As always, be kind, stay safe and stay healthy, and I will see you in the next one.